Now that we're lifted, living in the kingdom, it requires that we surrender, that we move beyond that ego concept we have of our finite capabilities and possibility, and move into the Christ self, the place where we are one with the infinite. Today's scriptural reading and the daily inspiration were awesome. The Creator can do the work of loving unconditionally, of being the knowledge of all that is, was, and shall be, of being the substance for all of life. It is up to us to cooperate with the work being done in and through us. That's what living in the kingdom is. It's about listening. It's about practice. It's about taking time day in and day out to be with that one presence within us. It's about getting out of our head space, our having to be right space, our know-it-all space, and into a place of quiet reflection where we can allow ourselves to hear what we are being directed to do. You see, we have it in our mind, we're going to do this, be that, go here, go there, have this much money, this much in the bank. We're controlling or attempting to control everything. And then isn't it funny how things just happen to us that interrupt that control?
Yes.
That's God saying, hello, pay attention, you've been ignoring. Right? There's that part in us that knows who we are, where we're going, what needs to be done, and yet we choose to ignore it. We choose to, instead of living in the kingdom, we actually choose hell, suffering, right? And we're not really conscious of that, but it's the truth. It's what we're doing. We've lived our lives believing in a series of lies, and yesterday in class, Reverend Evan talked about our self-concept. And I loved this because I hadn't heard it phrased like this before. Our self-concept. And some of us have a self-concept of doubting, or I'm not valuable, I'm not worthy, right? We have a self-concept that, we're less than somebody else or something else. And we have a self-concept of low self-esteem, whatever. And he said our self-concept is our concept of God. Because God is being you. God is not a guy out there passing judgment. God isn't he who will maybe bestow a blessing on you. God is within you, being you, as you, living through you, but only with your permission. Free will. Like there's an idea inside of you that's trying to be birthed. There's something inside of you that wants expression. There's something inside of you that's going, hey, remember me? But it's interesting how it speaks with a quiet voice. And because it speaks with a quiet voice, we can go, shh, enough of that. I know better. I got a plan. And life stops working for us, and we wonder why it's hard or difficult. We wonder why we're suffering. And we're suffering because we're ignoring the truth of who we are and what we are. We're ignoring that authentic self, that authentic voice, that authentic something inside of us that each one of us has. We're ignoring the divine. And then life is harder. Now, what if it could be easier? What if life could be joyful? What if life could be fun and interesting, exciting? What if that were to happen? Does that sound like it would be okay? It requires that we find our authentic self. It requires that we give up all the lies we were told throughout our life because we believed them, because they were told to us by people that we believed. Our parents, our siblings, our teachers, maybe even our ministers, I don't know. We were told that we shouldn't try too hard. I heard my dad tell my sister one day, don't expect too much out of life because you'll be disappointed. Wow, now there's an inspiring thought. Anybody else hear that? Don't try too hard, just aim for the bottom rung. You're likely to get there. I say aim for the stars. Aim for the stars, and if you land somewhere in the middle, hello, that's still better than the bottom rung, isn't it?
Yes.
I think we need to take time to practice, and we talk about this a lot here, practice, practice, practice. We need time in the silence. We need time in prayer where we're open our mind to hear that still small voice. We need to remind ourselves that God is the only thing that exists, and because we're here, we're one with it. We can't be separate from God any more than wet could be separate from water. I loved that when I heard that. Wet being separate from water. So you are God's expression. You were created in the image of the likeness. That means you're it. And because you're it, the power of it, the possibility of it is within you. Everything you need, you have right now. Everything you desire is a desire coming from that which knows. So what's the problem? Hello. Did you believe the lies? Did you believe the lies? I did. I believed the lies. I think most of us did, and maybe we still do. And so it's time to interrupt those lies and begin to create from a new place. It's time for us to take a look in the mirror and go, holy God! Because that's what's looking back at me. That God is right there as me, and if I can give up my own idea of who I should be or could be or would be, if I can give up the idea of who my parents thought I was or my siblings thought I was, and instead allowed myself to take some time in the silence to reflect, to be with God, to be with that Christ consciousness within me, if I could go there for a little time each day, I might discover something remarkable. I might discover me, who I am. And if I discover who I am and I choose to live from that perspective, maybe life will be better. Not just for me, but for everyone. Does that make sense? Living in the kingdom is about living. Not pretending, not putting on airs, not changing masks according to the day, the hour, the minute, or the person in front of you, but rather taking the time to go into yourself and to be present with the life that you were given, with its hills and its valleys. Allow yourself to be present with all that is. Allow yourself to be present today, to live today. To be in the now moment where inspiration and possibility are coming to you and you're saying no thank you to. It might be time to say, yes please. We interrupt the message in so many ways. One of them is, well, I don't know how to do that. You don't need to know how. God in you is doing the work. What was that statement again? I love just above it. The divine doer of work is operating from within. It's workplaces called Jesus or you or me. But the work is done only with our consent as the workplace directors. When we're living in the kingdom, when we're present in the kingdom, we're living from a place of I know. We're living in a place of possibility. We're living in a place where we're listening, where we're paying attention, where we're allowing the guidance to come, and we actually choose to follow it. In your program, it says treat and move your feet. That's about prayer. You know, we'll pray for something and pray for something and pray for something, and then something shows up and we sit there and we do nothing. I remember somebody coming to me one time, and the prayer was, you know, I really want to get out of this workplace. I hate my job. I hate my employer. I hate my manager. I hate all of this. I just want to get out of here. And so we treated for this person to have a new experience, a new job, a new opportunity, whatever. Well, didn't she just get her notice for layoff about a week later? But with that notice of layoff came a great big, huge package. Sounds like an answer to prayer, doesn't it? But she figured the package would only last her a year or so and she may never get another job. And so she turned it down, took a lesser position in another department, and only had to work twice as many hours for less pay. And came back for more treatment. Treat and move your feet. That means you're praying, you're asking, you're desiring something in your life, and then you need to take these little tootsies and put them in action. When something comes up that's to be done, do it. When you're living in the now moment, you're present in the now moment, there's something in that now moment for you to do. Do it. Don't set it aside and go, yeah, I'll get to that later. Let me paint my nails. Right? We're putting off what it is we say we want and desire. The desire's there. It's bubbling up inside of us, but we're trying to look so far into the future that we can determine every possible outcome, and we're not present, and when we're not present, we're not living in the kingdom. The kingdom is a here and now reality. It's not something you're going to get to. It's not something that's going to arrive one day. It is a here and now reality, and until you get present in the here and now, you cannot experience it. But if you will surrender your ego mind, your controlling, and allow yourself to be present, God in you will move you. But it requires surrender. It requires faith. Having faith that something really great is happening through you, that you're here by divine appointment, that you are absolutely the most remarkable creation of the absolute that could ever have been, and you're here to do a little something, something that no one else can. But it only comes through you as you live in the now, as you live in the kingdom. The kingdom of God is within you. It isn't out there. You can't go get it at Walmart on sale. No one else can give it to you. Nobody knows where you're going or how you're going to get there. So stop asking them. Breathe into the moment. Take a moment in the silence every day. Allow yourself to feel, to know, to experience the presence of God. Stop being right and choose to be available instead. Allow yourself to open up to a possibility of something really remarkable happening in your life and through you because you took the time to just be. That there was nothing that you had to do. We're so busy doing, you'd think we're human doings instead of human beings. And we want to interrupt that, and we do that through our practice. We do that through our practice. We take time in prayer and meditation, not because God will like us more. God is energy. It can't like us more. It is us. It is who we are. Remember, self-concept is our concept of God. So if my self-concept is one of infinite possibilities, wow, I just might create something interesting. But if my self-concept is, well, I'm not very smart, and I'm not very bright, and I'm not tall enough, and I don't live in the right city, and I need to... Doubt. We need to get rid of the doubt. We need to get rid of the idea of the past, and that happens through forgiveness. We let it go. We let go of all of that because that stops us from moving forward. We want to give up doubt and have faith. Faith that in me there is a power and presence mightier than anything I could ever imagine. And it is directing, moving, if I will let it. That free will thing, man, that messes us up, doesn't it? What, I get to choose? Oh, come on, God. There's a mistake in the making. We get confused, right? We want to know all of the answers before we even begin. We want to know how it's going to turn out. We got a little baby who's, a year old, and we're going, okay, this child's going to be a doctor, a lawyer. Hello. We don't know what this child's going to be. All we can do is create a container where this child can explore and find herself or himself, a place where they can play and fall and get up and figure it out and show up for who they are. And if we can create a space for the children to be who they are rather than who we would prefer them to be, maybe we could find the same space for us. I was raised in a world where I needed to be a certain way, which was not at all the way I was. It was a conundrum. My mother would just look at me and shake her head. This child just never shuts up. This child, so rebellious. This child. It's up to us right now, today, regardless of our age, to create a container for ourselves, a container of possibility and opportunity, a container where we stretch our arms a little bit and we try to find our way. We try to figure out, who am I anyway? If I remove all of the masks that I have created over my life, all the ways that I separate from God, if I remove all of those and I stand naked to the world, so to speak, leave your clothes on, then what might happen? Who might I be anyway? Could I spontaneously laugh and sing and cry? Could I just show up in every now moment knowing that it's the right moment, that this moment is good and very good, regardless of circumstance? See, that's what living in the kingdom is. Living in the kingdom is I look at the weather and go, wow, it's weather. Hallelujah. I look at the snow and I think, wow, it's crisp and it's cold and it's lovely. And then it gets slushy and muddy and wet and it's lovely. Because if I was a little kid and all that slush was forming with the melting snow, I'd be out in my boots stomping my feet and making a really big mess, and it would be joyful. Or I can go out and complain because I've got my foot wet. How are we showing up? Are we living in the kingdom, or are we pretending and showing up somewhere else and trying to be something we're not, and living this painful existence that frankly isn't serving anybody? What would it take to interrupt that? And are you ready to interrupt it? Do you want to interrupt it? Well, okay, 2 of you. All right. Do you want to interrupt it? Would you like to wake up in the morning and bounce out of bed like you did when you were 3? Yeah. To be able to just jump out of bed knowing that this now moment is the best moment ever because it's the only one there is. That as I live in the kingdom, I discover something, doesn't matter what, but I discover something, and in discovering that something, I experience something else. And it's like, wow, what I know is I'm alive. Are you alive, or are you putting in time? Are you counting days till the box? You know, that big... Are you counting down the moment going, oh, when my kids leave home? Oh, when my, spouse arrives? What are we doing? We're counting down time. We're not living. In order to live, we must be present. We must be here. If you're thinking about lunch right now, you're missing the point. I know, I can read your mind. You're all going, yeah, I'm getting hungry. We're busy, doing, and we've missed the point. And it's causing us all manner of suffering. It's causing us rage and outrage. It's causing us distractions that eliminate the possibility of really fully living. It's causing war in our world and in our families and in our schools. And it's disruptive, and it isn't doing us any good at all. And we can change it. It's so simple. I didn't say easy. Because, boy, we like to control things. Well, it's time to shift that. And I want you to consider the idea of creating a practice for your life, if you haven't already. And if you have that practice, look at how you might deepen it if you're noticing you're not present most of the time. Or if you notice that you're complaining a lot. Interrupt that and go back. Go into that quiet, still place within and find yourself. That's the only thing you're looking for. And if you're wondering who you are right now and whether or not you might like to make a change, just look at who you're hanging with. Look at who you're attracting to you. If you find that you're always around kind of miserable people, you might want to do a check-in and go, let me just put on a little happy smile here and let me start clicking up my heels. Maybe I can attract somebody new. Our life is a reflection of what we believe. What's in your life today? Is it the life that you always dreamed of? Is it exciting and insightful? Is it fun and interesting? Is it dynamic and creative? Or are you sludging through the moments? See, we're all here by divine appointment. So there is a little something for you to do, to be. And it's not something or someone else. One of the awarenesses I had a number of years ago, which was really profound for me, I've always kept journals. I like to write, so I write stuff. And as I was looking back one time, it was in 2000, I'm looking back at 1988 and what I'd written in 1988, and I had the most wonderful epiphany. See, I thought I'd changed a lot. And when I read that journal from 1998, I realized I was still the same person I was then. But something had changed, and what had changed was my attitude. What had changed was my attitude, not me. See, who I was already okay. Who I was actually was perfect, whole, and complete. You've heard that before? Yes. Perfect, whole, complete? Who I was perfect, whole, and complete. What I thought about me, what I thought about my gifts and talents, what I thought about who I should be, where I should go, how I should do it, all of that needed to change. I had a bad attitude. And that's what shifted. That bad attitude is what shifted. You see, I realized it wasn't your responsibility to make me happy. Go figure. Anybody here think the people in your life are there to make you happy? No. They sure know how to make you mad, don't they? If they can make you mad, they can make you happy. Either that or you've been doing it all yourself all along. Do you make yourself mad sometimes? You do, because of the way you think. Like we're living either in the kingdom or out of it. Well, you can't actually be out of it, but mentally we sort of separate. We think we're out of it. And we do things like, you won't believe what so-and-so did to me. Well, so-and-so can't do anything to you unless you invite them in. This week I spoke at a women's event, and it was all on self-defense, and I thought, I don't know how I'm going to talk about self-defense. That's that'll be interesting. You have to get creative. That's when you got to let God out, let it figure it out for you. So I sat back and I decided I would take the self-defense portion of the workshop before lunch and speaking. And by doing that, I got to see the Kung Fu master and what he would tell them. And he told them something that I agreed with. Pay attention to what's going on around you. And pay attention to what you feel about what's going on around you. Make sense? Mm-hmm. And what I spoke to them about was intuition. You see, we know long before things happen, or at least a little while before things happen, what's coming. We have a sense, we have a feeling. And if we were living in the kingdom, we would pay attention to that feeling and move accordingly. We would pay attention to it because it's speaking to us. We might not hear a voice when God speaks to us, but we might feel something in our body. We might have an idea to do something different. Maybe somebody is showing us an opportunity. If we're listening and living in the kingdom, we will begin to pay attention to those things and therefore not put ourselves in harm's way. Make sense? Yes. But we like to ignore it because we know better than God, the all-knowing, everywhere present, all-powerful one. So how do we interrupt? Well, I've already expressed it. We interrupt by taking time in the silence. If you catch yourself in the middle of a moment, we get them, don't we? I do. Maybe it's just me. No? Too? All right. We have a moment. Something happens and we forget everything we've heard here today and we react. Where's the reaction coming from? A thought that I had about the event, right? So my reaction will be positive or negative depending on the thought that I had about the event. If I'm living in the kingdom, if I remember that in that moment of my reaction, I can pull myself back and go, just a second, I need a timeout. Timeout's great. Because my timeout can be about me just getting quiet and letting go of everything I think is going on out here, and instead surrender into here so that I might figure out the truth. The truth is always present. It's just we rarely see it because we've got something else going on. We want to know everything. We want to know it all. We want to be right. We still think we're 15. I knew everything when I was 15. Did you? Everything? Mm-hmm. Did your kids know everything when they were 15? I think so. Well, I think we carry that over. And what we want to do is really move out of that mindset. You see, we're the ones thinking the thoughts. We're the ones determining our life. We're the ones creating our life because we're saying yes to things that are irrelevant and no to things that really matter. Albert Einstein, I'll never get this quote straight, and so I get to be right. Albert Einstein talked about the intuition as a gift and as our ego self basically as the servant. And he said the problem is we are listening to the servant and ignoring the gift. So the gift is the presence of God within us as us being us. Each one of us has it, no one's separate. It doesn't decide, I like you, I don't like this other person. Oh, you partied last night? You're off the list. It's not a Santa Claus God. God is the divine presence of life itself. If you have life, you have it. And if you have it, you can tap into it and you can begin to live from that place of power and possibility rather than living from the ideas of doubt. We have doubts sometimes. We need to erase those and move beyond them. Treat and move our feet. When we go into prayer, know that this prayer, I'm opening my mind to a bigger idea and I'm going to listen to that bigger idea and I'm going to embrace it and I'm going to move with it. Rather than praying or treating and then going, yeah, thanks God, I don't really like that one. And I'm going to go do something else. Each one of us is tapped in, tuned in, and able to fully accept and live in that kingdom. To experience the fullness of God here and now in every way imaginable, every way that you can think of, it's your here and now possibility. Unless you choose to believe that you are finite, that you are, just, not that special. Your self-concept is your concept of God. If you believe that you are unworthy, your life will reflect your unworthiness. If you believe that you're just not that smart, your world will reflect that you're not that smart. Whatever you believe, whatever your self-concept is, your world will match it because God is law. Evan said that with such power yesterday and it landed. God is law. It cannot decide for you. It only decides with you. If you say it's this way, it goes all right and goes that way. The minute you make a demand on the universe, it says yes in the now moment, not someday down the road. It isn't God's will that you be impoverished or that you be unhealthy. It isn't God's will, it's yours. Sorry. I'm not actually, but that's the truth, and we all have moments. We have moments of illness or poverty or upset or whatever we've got going on, and we're thinking somehow, okay, I made a mistake, and so this is God punishing me. No, God does not punish you. You punish yourself. And when you're living in the kingdom, you will not do that because you will know the truth. That God is here where I am, loving me completely and totally as I am, as I was created, not how somebody else wished me to be. as I am. God is law. Whatever I speak into life becomes manifest for me because God is law. It says, yes, as you wish, Master. I'm the master of my destiny, and that's good news and bad news. There was a time in my life when every single thing was wrong, and so if somebody told me this, I'd smack them upside the head. So, I'll be just out here after. So feel free. But there was a part of me that went, no, bad things are happening to me, and it's got nothing to do with me. And then one day I woke up and went, bad things are happening to me. What's the constant? See, the people doing the bad things, they were changing. Darn. Hate it when an idea comes home to roost. I, in that moment, recognized that I am the constant in my life. And if my life isn't working for me, I have the power to change it. Not from my finite perception of I'm not worthy, I'm not enough, I'm no good, blah, 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 I'm broken and flawed, but from the idea that I am one with God. I am one with God. Can you say that?
I am one with God.
Did that sound... Yeah, that was... I didn't believe it.
Underwhelming.
Very underwhelming. I am one with God.
I am one with God.
That was a little better. See, when we recognize that, when we're living in the kingdom, when we're going, I don't know how to work it all out, but I know that somehow, some way, there is a way to work it all out. And so I'm going to let go and allow that energy, that vibration of creativity and possibility. I'm going to let God, through me, begin to move, and I'm going to move with it and let it carry me and take me. In that moment, something happens. And there's answers, and there's possibility, and there's opportunity. We need to get our bloated nothingness out of the way, as Emerson would say. We need to live like the Christ did, in love, in a knowingness, in faith that all things are possible. Why could Jesus walk on water? He got out of the boat. He got out of the boat and just did it because he knew that there was a way. If there is a call, if you are being called to do something, to do anything, it is a matter of you stepping up and taking the call. If God's calling, answer. If the universe is calling, answer. If the universe is calling you, there is a reason. There is something for you to do. Something bigger maybe than what you've thought of. Or maybe it's something that even feels kind of small and insignificant. But I'll tell you, it's a whole bunch of little things that make a world work. And when some of those little things get missed, the world doesn't work quite so well. So we need to go within and find ourselves, our authentic self. We need to stop hiding and pretending and lying about who we are and what we are, and instead stand in the truth, going, I am enough. I gotta be, right? I'm created in the image and of the likeness. Does that mean I'm enough?
Yes.
How about you? Are you enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you special?
Yes.
Are you wonderful?
Yes.
Are you terrific?
Yes.
Are you the perfect person in the perfect place at the perfect moment?
Yes.
Are you good?
Yes.
All the time?
Yes.
You're so busted. I'm not talking about your behavior. God is good all the time, and God through you is good all the time, and in every moment we are deciding, who am I? In every moment we're showing up or not, and often it's not. It's time for us to live, to fully live. We're here for a time. I don't know how long I'm here for. I don't know how long you're here for. Some people live hours and minutes, some live days and weeks, some live many, 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 many years. And there's some people who live many, many, many years who didn't live more than a mere few minutes. And so what are you living? Are you living in the kingdom? Like, are you present? Are you waking up each day and showing up? Are you waking up each day and saying, What now? Now what? Are you getting excited because something new is happening? Are you a little bit afraid because something new is happening? Are you stepping into the moment and allowing it to be a full moment? Are you allowing yourself to love? I hear, them talking on the radio sometimes about, how many times do you have to go on a date before you know that you're going to love somebody? Or how do you fall in love? Is falling in love, does it really... La, 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 la. Love is an experience of living. And if I'm present, I'm not creating a list. I'm not creating a list that says, oh, well, I did for a while. I got rid of the list because I discovered it didn't work. What I discovered was I need to be present with life, and if I'm present with life and somebody comes along that is right for me, I will recognize them because I'm present with life. I don't need to date 800 people and go, oh, well, you don't like spaghetti, you can't talk to me. I don't like your mom. We don't. That's not how love happens. There's a connection. Sometimes we meet people and we just connect with them. Have you had that happen?
Yes.
Whether it was with a friend or an acquaintance or a work colleague, like sometimes you meet people and you just like them. You didn't fall in like with them. You connected because vibrationally you were kind of in the right place at the right time and you were on a similar, you were something going on. And that happens. Pierre and I didn't fall in love with each other. We kind of knew. Or at least I did. How about you? Gotta be careful when I bring him into the equation. No. We knew early on. It's like we had it, even when we were talking, before we had our first date, there was a connection, there was a joy, there was a comfort there that was, wow. And I just knew, and he just knew, and, 6 weeks later or something, we were engaged, and 6 months later married. That was 13 years ago, so it seems to be working. It's stuck this long. We journey along, we're trying to figure things out, we're trying to know, and we're trying to put together a plan. This is the ego, right? The ego's going, well, if I do A and I do B and I do C, then D will be here. Well, there's a whole lot of university students who did all that, and they're still unemployed. Because that wasn't their life, their passion, their joy wasn't in whatever it was that they thought they should do, which would earn them a living and create lots of... Right? We have to begin to think differently. We have to think from the God self. We have to go within ourselves and know that each one of us has a little something we bring to the table. And when we do that thing, somehow there's just joy and love and this incredible peace that's revealed from that. I watched my daughter on Tuesday night perform at the Berkeley Street Theater. And she has said for years, I want to be an actor. And watching her perform on Tuesday night, oh my goodness, she was so comfortable. It was like she'd been on that stage her whole life. And I'm thinking, wow, she knows who she is. She also got just about straight A's on her last report card, so that was good too. But the joy that I experienced in watching her, memorizing her lines and getting the songs down and the dances and all the things she needed to do, it was interesting to watch her just do what she loves. I think I was more nervous. I know I was more nervous than she was. But it was wonderful because she was just being her. And we have an opportunity, each one of us. I want you to forget about what everybody told you should do. I want you to forget about everything you thought you should do. I want you to forget about all the stories you were told, all the lies you were told, all the things you were told, that if you do this or do that, then you'll be okay. None of that is true. All of that is lies. You're okay. And I know you're okay as you are, even if you're hiding from us, because the real you has always been perfect, whole, and complete. The real you is the God you. The authentic self, that part of you that's always been so divine and beautiful and fantastic and is pulling you and pushing you to be who you are. And if you will allow that out, your life will become so much easier. Living in the kingdom is a now experience, not a then or a when. It's a now experience. And each one of us gets to choose, am I willing to be present? Am I willing to be in the moment and respond to whatever it calls of me? Can I be with a broken elbow or a sore elbow? My husband fell skating yesterday. He had an elbow that was huge. Can I be with that and go, oh, well, it's part of the day. It's part of the journey. Can I just be with it and know my divine health, which is what he did, and it's not swollen today? Can I be with what is and not resist it? Can I be with what is and say thank you? We want to begin to say thank you for everything because it's all God and it's all good. Anything happening in our life is good unless we name it something else. And that comes from our ego perception. We want to remember it's all God, and when we're living in the kingdom, that's what we're saying, that's what we're doing. We're being present, we're living in the now. We're saying this too is God, this too is good, and I will discover it. I will notice it. I will see how this is serving. I will get present. Are you ready to get present in your life?
Yes.
And the truth shall be revealed. It's a big change, isn't it? It's a big change to think about giving up the masks. Because if people knew who I was, would they still love me? That's the question that we're asking. If people could really see me, would they still love me? You're created in the image and of the likeness of God, and if people could see you for real, they would adore you. God bless.
All the way, I'm going all take me there? Yeah, I'll take you there. I can't hear you. Will you take me there? Yeah, I'll take you there. One more time. Will you take me there? Yeah, I'll take you there. Won't you help me? Help me. I want to hear you say, take me there, yeah. I'll take you there. A little quieter. Take me there, yeah. I'll take you there. Nice and soft. Take me there, yeah. I'll take you there. Let's build it. Will you take me there, yeah? I'll take you there. I want